How's it going, everybody? Metal Monster here with a Famitsu Roundup. Now, this is the blog page here, as you can see. I had this actually updated, or actually written on Thursday, but for some reason it took me up till today to actually get this posted up. So, I'm going to try to do a better job. I like to actually have these completed on Wednesday, right as it actually comes out. Usually Famitsu comes out at like 10 in the morning. Well, probably about 9 U.S. Eastern Standard Time. It's definitely much later over there. So I usually try to have it done sometime Wednesday afternoon to kind of keep things current. So definitely gonna try to work on this. Also with the podcast here, I want to have those do these on Friday, so Friday Famitsu Roundup kind of rolls a little bit better. But it seems like I end up doing these on Monday, which is kind of unfortunate. So let's go ahead and get into the data for this week. Alright, so topping the charts for the software, we've got third Super Robot Wars Z. And I think like the Robot Wars Z is like some kind of like spin-off series from the regular Super Robot Wars that started with like the PS2. I guess they like diverged and tried to make like a new Super Robot Wars series. And the Vita version takes second place this week with 125,048 units sold. Third, looks like that's Yokai Watch. Fourth, that's Mario Party Island Tour. Let's see, looks like that, 28,407 units it looks like. Kind of hard to see what that one is. Looks like some kind of like Shin-Chan kind of thing. Yeah, definitely Shin-Chan. Alright. It's Mato. I don't know if I can really pronounce this. I think the subtitle is Tokyo Twilight Ghost Hunters. Number 7. Let's get to that one. That's Titanfall for the 360, and that sold 11,000 units in Japan. Number 4 is Samurai Warriors 4, or 8 is Samurai Warriors. And it looks like we got Metal Gear Solid, Just Dance Wii U, Kirby Triple Deluxe. I think that Mato game again. J-Stars Victory, Pro Baseball, a new title Dream Club, Fossil Fighters, I think. I wonder why that doesn't have a image. That's kind of weird. Miku Hatsune, or Hatsune Miku, it seems like. Well, Project Diva, F second. Puzzles and Dragon, Pokemon X. I can't see the last title. Let's see. Oh, it looks like J-Stars as well. Wii Party U, Dark Souls 2, another Project Diva, New Super Mario Brothers U, Monster Hunter. Sure what that one is. Let's see. Oh, that's Dragon Quest. I should have known that. And then after that's Harvest Moon. And then after Harvest Moon is Hero Bank. Let's see what we got. And it looks like the last two are another Samurai Warriors 4 for the Vita version, and then Animal Crossing New Leaf. Now let's take a look at hardware. So on Media Create, Vita actually tops the 3DS, but it looks like in Famitsu, 3DS still holds the title with 24,000 units sold, followed by the Vita with almost 23,000, but 22,865 units. PS4 sold 12,000 units, and then the PS3 8,388, Wii U 5,693, PSP 1,578, Wii 178, and then the 360 with 144. Kind of surprising that even with Titanfall coming out this week, 360 wasn't able to pass the Wii. It's kind of weird because like the two have been going back and forth for a while. I'm sure that's like something no one really expected for Japan. But then again, I mean the Wii U's pretty much been replaced by, or the Wii has been pretty much replaced by the Wii U. So there's not much of a reason to have that. So you can kind of see that it's definitely late in its life too. So we can see that it has fallen pretty low. I mean, last year it was selling a little over 1,000 and hanging around that area for most of the year. So let's see. Last week 3DS was over 30,000 or 31,000 actually. So it seems like it's fallen quite a bit. It's been struggling the last couple of weeks really taking quite a dive. I mean, did really well in that week before the tax increase. It's kind of fallen quite a bit since then. Vita has been holding really well. I mean, it's one of the only consoles. Actually, no, I take that back. It's the only console to be up year over year. And year over year just means that if we align the weeks from last year with this year, a year over year increase would be last year's week compared to this year's week. So that's what we mean by that. The PS4's it dropped 3,000. Media Create has its dip quite a lot lower than this, but I think 3,000. It's not a terrible drop, but it is percentage-wise not all that great. So hopefully PS4 can kind of like maintain that because a lot of people are really concerned that it's going to fall below 10,000 soon, and that's definitely not good. As far as I don't know. Considering its lineup in the coming weeks, it doesn't seem like there's anything that's going to stop it from falling below 10,000. Wii U's trying to hold out until Mario Kart. It's definitely going to dip below 5,000. More than likely next week. I'd be surprised if it didn't fall below 5,000 next week. Not looking good there. Pretty much everything else is just old systems that are kind of just hanging around, really. You know, PS3 still gets really good support despite its age. PSP gets pretty decent support, though PSP's kind of fallen off quite significantly this year. I don't think it's got too many years left in it. So we're definitely going to see them transition, and at this point, really, it's going to go to the Vita, which is kind of strange if you look at the totals for the Vita. I mean, the Vita, I'm trying to look here, the Vita is only sold, it's not even like 3 million yet in Japan, and it's been out for, I think this is its third year now. It came out the same year, well, because it's in the US. Well, no. It came out the same year as the 3DS, I think. It came out in December of that year. So, maybe, yeah, in there in age. And it's not even done 3,000 yet. So it's kind of strange that the 3DS, which has over 15 million people in Japan who own one, isn't getting quite the number of games, it seems, as the Vita. But that could just be the time period, really. I think when they did the comparison, it was like 80 3DS games to 50 Vita games for like last year. Certainly, though, the amount of support is somewhat unprecedented for a system that has kind of struggled. Though, I mean, it's definitely pulling back, which is obviously is going to give developers a level of interest in the system and some faith in it. So that's definitely good for the Vita. So likely we'll see the PSP games once those start. They've been phasing out, but they'll continue to phase out as the PSP wanes, and they'll likely move to the Vita. Though the 3DS is a possibility. It just seems like developers in Japan have kind of found like an audience on the Vita, I think. I think when they look at the 3DS, they see it's kind of crowded. Maybe. It's hard to really gauge what they're thinking because the 3DS has had a lot of successful titles and a lot of breakout titles as well. Like titles you wouldn't think would sell well. So I don't know, it's hard to balance really. I mean, the Vita sells a reasonable amount of software. It's never going to hit that 500,000 million units software like the 3DS is almost regularly able to get. So That's the best I can explain when it comes to why the Vita is getting such good amount of software, despite its lifetime totals. I mean, weekly totals, as we can see, it's closing the gap quite quickly on the 3DS. The 3DS is, reaching like a level of saturation, which isn't good, because the DS was able to go like 30 million, insanely high, and PlayStation 2 I think was like well over 20 some million. Even the PSP has almost hit 20 million. So the fact that the 3DS is already hitting saturation at 15 million kind of means that the market's shrinking. Uh, where do I think it will end up at the end? I could see definitely the 3DS outdoing the PSP in total sales. I could see it doing a little over 20 million. It may even be able to go over 22 million. But, yeah, 22 million is really high. I mean, it's got a little over 7. It's got about 7 million to go to get to that point. And considering the drop and how long its life is likely going to be, I don't know. Maybe it just barely makes it to the PSP totals. Maybe it barely crosses 20 million. I think that's a little bit of a safer prediction than trying to be bold and say it's going to pass 22 million. Because I think if it had passed 22 million, we could say that 3DS was a fairly healthy platform, at least in Japan. So I've talked a lot about hardware, but let's just go back to software and kind of give a roundup there. Super Robot Wars Z, that's doing pretty well. I mean, the series has kind of declined a little bit, but I mean, it's relatively stable with the last couple entries, if not a little bit better. Yokai Watch, once again, got a increase in sales. My goodness, that thing's amazing. Supposedly, the Yokai Watch 2 is actually doing quite well when it comes to pre-orders, and it seems like it's still got quite a ways to go. So I think level 5 is planning to ship like 500,000 units, which is absolutely insane. I'm going to put that out there. That's absolutely insane, I think. Especially for Yokai Watch. I don't think... I could be wrong. I'm definitely eager to be surprised. It just... 500,000 just seems like... Yeah, especially with level 5's history. It just seems like going big for the sequel. Especially that big, considering where Yokai Watch started. Just seems a little bold, really. But certainly, Yokai Watch, if it sustains before its successor comes out, it will definitely be a million seller, which is really good. Mario Party next week should hit 300,000. I think it probably can stick around a little bit and make it to about 500,000. I don't know. It seems like a little low to me at this point. So I'm kind of hoping that it sticks around. Titanfall. I don't know what to make of Titanfall. I mean, obviously it wasn't a hugely Japanese-centric game, so I don't think people were really expecting much out of it. But I mean, it made the top 10, which is pretty impressive. I mean, it didn't do a whole lot for 360 sales, it seems like, but I mean that's pretty good for a Western-style game. Metal Gear Solid surprisingly sticking around, despite the fact that it's kind of a super demo, I'd call it, I guess. Just Dance Wii U, I'm kind of surprised that it has been hanging around. It hasn't been doing all that great. I'm not sure what Just Dance usually do in Japan. I thought they actually did reasonably well, not super well, like Europe, US kind of style Just Dance love. Fossil Fighter's hanging in there, which is kind of impressive to me because when I saw it slipping, I figured it'd be gone in a little while. It's good to see it sticking around. Animal Crossing hanging in there in the top 30. Refuses to give out. It's going to be sad to see when the Animal Crossing drops out of the top 30, considering it's been in there for so long. Monster Hunter 4 sticking around. You know, your usual suspects. Puzzles and Dragon, Pokemon. I think Kirby Deluxe is doing really well. Not much to really say. I mean, there were a reasonable amount of new releases this week that did okay. I mean, Super Robot Wars Z, I'd say, did well. Nothing too exciting, though, other than that. I mean, most of your usual suspects, it seems like, at this point. Alright. So I can't really remember what was supposed to be coming up next week. I have to look into that. But As far as predictions go, I want to say the 3DS holds, but I could see it going down to 21,000. I'm hoping something keeps it from continually dipping. Vita probably gonna stay. Actually, I'm gonna be bold and I'm gonna say it's gonna fall to like 19,000. Which, yeah, I'm gonna go with that. It doesn't. Looking at the numbers, it doesn't seem all that reasonable, but anything can happen. PS4, I think it's got another week at over 10,000. So next week, I'm going to expect a little low, just barely 11,000. Not much more. Wii U's fallen below 5,000. I'm looking at 4,800 or something like that. So not looking good. Total hardware will likely be down by almost 25,000 next week, which is kind of scary. So that's my predictions for next week. So hopefully see you all then. I'll tune in. Hopefully have it actually done on Friday and not on a Monday, which seems so. Hopefully have it done sooner instead of later, like it has been the last 2 weeks. I definitely want to stick with trying to actually do these videos because it's kind of one of my goals for the year is to do these Famitsu videos. So thank you all for watching. Remember to check out my blog, metropolisgaming.com. You can see all the Famitsu articles. I've also got some other articles up there as well. Trying to work on MPD, getting analysis of that, and trying to collect all the different PR reports and everything that the companies have shed out so that you can write a reasonable analysis of what's happening with that. Got a couple little things that I wrote on, some topics that interest me. So stay tuned. I'll try to keep you all up to date with the latest happenings in the financial world of gaming and, well, anything related to sales-wise, really, and the market trends. So thanks all for watching. I'll see you all next week.